Hey, what's up guys? I'm BTC. Season 4 of the competitive ladder is about to begin, but in the meantime, we have something called the off-season, which is only available in between seasons. And today, I asked the question, why is the off-season game mode such a broken mess? Blizzard has changed the way that seasons work on the competitive ladder a couple of times already. The current version they have lasts for a few months, and in between that, there's a week of downtime known as the off-season. This is a game mode that temporarily replaces the competitive ladder and is also full of problems. I suppose the biggest question is, why do we even have an off-season? But before I answer that, I want to go through some of the issues that the off-season has. First up, how does it even work? Well, the off-season game mode mimics the way the competitive ladder games would normally run. It has all of the same rules. Both teams have a chance to attack and defend, and the standard tie-breaking mechanisms are also in place. This means that one of these off-season matches lasts about the same time as a normal competitive match would, which is about 2 to 3 times as long as a standard quick play match. So problem number 1, there's no backfill in these off-season matches. During a quick play match, it's not uncommon to see people leaving and joining during the match. This is because there is almost no penalty for leaving a quick play match. And because it's not really serious and there's no ranking attached to the game, Blizzard allows players to backfill and join a match that's already in progress. Whereas in a competitive ladder match, the game is taken a little more seriously, and there's a skill rating and ranking attached to every player. Because of this, Blizzard does not allow backfilling in competitive matchmaking. So where do the off-season matches fit in? Well, just like a quick play match, there's no real penalty for leaving, but like a competitive match, they don't allow anybody to backfill when someone has left. Again, remember, these off-season matches mimic a standard competitive match in length, so they're much longer than a quick play match. If someone decides to leave your off-season game, then pretty much everybody that's in the game is screwed. Everybody might as well just leave and start a new match, or else you're going to have to play a game where it's 5 versus 6 or 4 versus 6, and that's just not really fun for anyone. Problem number 2 is the matchmaking system simply doesn't care who's in an off-season match. It pretty much just takes anyone who queued up and throws them all in a game together. I noticed this in the very first off-season match I played. My team was absolutely destroying the enemy. I was getting kill after kill with almost no effort. And I thought, this seems way too easy. Like, what's going on here? So I started checking out the rank of everybody that was in that match. And as it turned out, most of the people on my team were ranked Diamond and higher, and the people on the enemy team were ranked Bronze, Silver, and Gold. No wonder we were just absolutely steamrolling them. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Isn't the group queue kind of broken right now, where a 6-stack of Grandmasters can get placed against the 6-stack of Platinums? Yes, that is true. But that's not the case with this, because in my game, nobody was grouped up. Everybody had solo queued, and yet we had this huge disparity in all of the ranks. I can understand that some of these off-season matches might be a little wonky with the balance, but putting people that are in Bronze and Silver versus other people who are in Grandmaster is just ridiculous. And something else I want to mention is that it's not evenly distributing these players. What I mean is, it's not putting a bronze player on the red team and then a bronze player on the blue team and then a Grandmaster on the red team and a Grandmaster on the blue team. That's not what's happening. It's not trying to even it out. It's just taking people and throwing them on whatever team. That's why you'll see a team with several Master and Grandmaster players going against people in Bronze and Silver. The matchmaking is just not there. And the third problem, which kind of piggybacks off of the first and the second, is that it's just not worth it to play the off-season game mode. It's a lot more frustrating, the games take a lot longer, if people leave, then there's no backfill, and you don't even get competitive points. So if you do manage to get into a game that goes the whole way, that's evenly balanced, where people don't leave, and you actually win, you don't even get anything for it, except for a little bit of experience that you could have more easily gotten from a quick play match. At the very least, they finally changed it so that this current version had experience, because the previous ones wouldn't even reward you that. But why bother when you can just play quick play with games that are shorter, more evenly balanced, and that will backfill players after they leave? Right now, the off-season game mode is nothing more than a really crappy version of quick play. So that brings me back to the first question I asked, which is, why do we even have an off-season? Now, I know some of you might think, well, Blizzard needs time in order to make changes from one season to the next, but that's simply not true. Anytime Blizzard is going to make changes to the game, whether it's for character balance or changes to the competitive ladder or matchmaking or any of that stuff, they do all of that weeks ahead of time, and they do it on the public test realm. Blizzard does not need an off-season so that they can make those changes. The changes have already been made. All they need to do is take them from the PTR and move it over to the live server. They already do that with the regular standard patches, and that happens seamlessly. The idea that Blizzard needs an off-season in order to make technical changes is just wrong. They don't. Something else that makes the off-season seem out of place is the fact that Blizzard's ladder system doesn't fully reset anymore. Your rank in the next season is almost completely determined by where you left off in the previous season. I mentioned this in another video because it was just mind-boggling, but why even have different seasons if you're simply going to start where you left off in the previous season? And if it's an issue with, like, rewards, all they need to do is just give you those rewards every 90 days or every several months or whatever they want to, however they want to work it out. But what about people who stop playing? They're still going to get rewards every couple months. What does it matter? They're not playing the game. It doesn't matter if they get the rewards, they're not playing. So why does it even matter? And if you really want to go that route, you can do what CSGO does. And after you've had a certain amount of inactivity, like a couple months where you haven't played the game, they simply remove your rank and you have to do the placements again. Now granted, in Season 3, they did make a change on how much the players were spread out among the ranks because they thought there was way too many people in the gold, so they tried to spread out the player base a little bit. So you might have seen a little bit of shift at the beginning of Season 3. But since they already did that, and it appears that they're happy with the results, they're not going to need to do it again. Meaning that although you might have had a small shift at the start of Season 3, that shouldn't happen with Season 4, or Season 5, or Season 6, or 8, or 9, or etc., forever. So wherever you end the current season is pretty much where you're going to start the next season. There doesn't seem to be any actual need, technical or otherwise, for Blizzard to have downtime between the seasons. The off-season should be eliminated in its entirety. As soon as one season ends, the next season should start. That's how pretty much every single competitive game ever works, including other Blizzard games. If Blizzard, for whatever crazy reason, seems determined to have an off-season, then at a minimum, they need to fix it. Matchmaking needs to be drastically improved, so that you're playing against people of a similar skill level. There also needs to be backfill for when players leave. And lastly, these games need to reward competitive points. Otherwise, what's the point in playing this instead of quick play? Thankfully, Season 4 will be starting very soon, but I fully expect that these same issues will be coming up again in the next off-season. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about the off-season and the problems that it has. Put your feedback in the comment section down below. Hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe because there's lots more Overwatch on the channel. Remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.